Welcome back, guys. It's a Dreamhack Dota 2 Invitational. We are currently tied up between Virtus Pro and QPAD Red Pandas. It is 1-1. This is the tiebreaker game, if you will. And even though technically we talked about a little bit earlier, Virtus Pro, if they lose one match, there's really not a good chance that they can actually make it to the round of 6 anymore. I think almost mathematically impossible.
Yeah, they don't have a chance right now because they want to, even if they win this 2-1, because they lost the other ones 2-0. If you look at the QPAD Red Pandas, they won their other match 2-1 versus Empire, and they would lose this one 2-1 and 2-1. So they have one game advantage. And the way we solve these tiebreakers is by map score, meaning if you get a 2-0, it's worth more than if you get a 2-1. So yeah, Virtus Pro cannot get ahead of the QPAD Red Pandas right now. And if you can't get ahead of one team, the other two teams are doing even better. So it's kind of hard for them. Anyways, they probably want to go out with the bang. They didn't have the best of tournaments because they couldn't actually play the second game. People were questioning them, so perhaps they want to show us that they're really the strong team. I mean, they're in the final from the defense, I think, and they've been qualified to Star Ladder probably.
Star Ladder 5, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, they're really a solid team. They couldn't show that in the Dreamhack Invitational. At least with this last game, if they can win the series, they will say, well, we are really a good team. We just couldn't play it the way we wanted to.
Well, again, they're going to have one more opportunity to show if they can take a best of 3 off the Red Pandas here in just a minute. But I think we wanted to talk a little bit about their stand-in today.
Yeah, actually, we're not talking about the stand-in. I'm going to be a little...
Or the person who is being stood in for.
Yeah, I think one of the news that we saw yesterday night, today morning, depending on where you are, Santa is not playing anymore for Virtus Pro. And Arsart is now replacing him as a stand-in. But let's talk a little bit about Santa and the way he played. By the way, there are some things missing there. It's not that he didn't have any XP per minute or CS. It's just that those statistics were from before we started gathering that information, so we don't have that. As you can see, he's a very jack-of-all-trades kind of 3 player. He played the Nature's Prophet, Broodmother, Bounty Hunter, Darkseer, pretty much all of the heroes that you can see going in the offlane. They were experimenting as well. One of the teams that were experimenting with Warlock didn't work so well for them. I mean, if you look at this, these are his best heroes, but if you look at the kills, as an offlaner, you have to get some kind of advantage. And if you're just getting 4.9 kills and 5.5 assists out of a Bounty Hunter, probably need to do more for your team. Things that were not working for him, they decided to just move away and get someone else. Still, he's a really good player, so he'll find probably a house in another team. Russian teams are famous for just rotating players.
Musical players. Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, we'll probably see him very soon. Good luck, Santa, in your next team. You're still a great player. Maybe, I don't know, you will show us some new tricks next time. But now into the match. So, what do we see here?
Oh, Virtus Pro, they're going to start things off. They're going to go ahead and ban out Wisp. Actually, QPAD is the one with the first pick, so they've banned out Keeper of the Light and Queen of Pain. And I think it's just the consensus that nobody really wants to play against Keeper of the Light. The hero is just so good at pretty much everything, even in team fights. A couple of days ago during the Dreamhack Invitational, we had a match where Goblack going up against QPandas, they were just landing Illuminate during these engagements. And even as a hero who's seen as a split pusher, if you have good enough positioning, you can actually turn team fights in your favor just by yourself. So not wanting to have to deal with that. Queen of Pain, pretty common mid hero that we see from pretty much any team. Anybody who's anybody basically runs a Queen of Pain, so not really shocked at that. And it looks like the last ban's going to be a Nyx from Virtus Pro.
I think they don't want to get the Nyx against them this time because the QPAD Red Pandas have the first pick. So it's okay. If you want to play the Bad Rider, we don't care. We just gave it to you the first game. It was good. It was not crucial because if you remember, Sing was farming with that Bad Rider until 12 minutes into the game. In the second game, it was a non-factor at all, especially because it was a Chronosphere, so the synergy was not there. And the QPAD Red Pandas are thinking right now, do I want to get the Bad Rider? Do I want to get something else and make something happen and just give the Bad Rider to Virtus Pro? It's always a gamble. Even if you don't get much success with your hero, that doesn't mean you want to give it to your rival because they might be able to do something more interesting with it.
Bat Rider is just that hero who continues to always be at the top tier of any competitive match. He's so ambiguous, he can do pretty much anything, mid, offlane, jungle, you name it, Bat Rider can pretty much do it. So yeah, they're going to go ahead and pick him up. Not sure if it's going to be Sing playing it, could be Mini playing it, Select plays it. I think the only person who doesn't play it on the team is probably Wagamama, because he's the carry player.
Yeah.
So the fact that they have so many people who can actually play Bat Rider makes it even harder to know what they're going to be doing straight out of the gate. And a lot of the higher tier teams really like picking around, being able to switch things in the last two heroes. So you see a lot of supports. You typically see heroes who could go mid or could go in other lanes, like This is a perfect example. Rubik and Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet has been seen anywhere from mid to jungle.
Yep.
So he can do it all as well. And Rubik, obviously being a support, it just leaves you wide open to react to whatever your team wants to do.
And at this point, QPAD Red Pandas clearly had problems with the Phantom Lancer. I wouldn't be surprised if Fairman goes against for that hero, but the most important thing is you might want to try and pick him here and not get them into that, or you might try and gamble and see, well, maybe they're just third pick something different and we can ban that in the second banning stage. Is it worth the risk? I think it is, because it was not the Phantom Lancer winning the game, but rather the composition not being able to deal with the Phantom Lancer enough. So now that they know that the hero can appear, maybe these two next picks from the QPAD Red Pandas can be more versatile. They probably will get the Shadow Demon again. I would be surprised if they don't get the Shadow Demon, because they really favor that hero. He's their most played hero, and Virtus Pro seems to be okay with them having it. Of course, Shadow Demon doesn't provide as much burst damage, especially in the early skirmishes. He's most of the defensive hero or an initiation hero, but by himself, not much of a threat. And when you get to late game, yeah, I mean, Disruption is useful. You get a Purge. But if you plan ahead around him, try to focus him really fast, then he suddenly is a non-factor in a team fight. And if you know how to play against that, it'll be nice. But yep, we see the Shadow Demon and the Life Stealers, which is pretty much what we saw in game 1 as well, right?
Pretty darn standard in Virtus Pro. You're just going to immediately react and say, you know what, you want to take the Life Stealer for the mid game, we'll go for the late game 2 games in a row. We're just going to go ahead and pick up the Phantom Lancer. So that says to me that QPanda already is going to have a weak stage in the game, and that's the later that it goes. And this is one of those things where you have to think, should we have just taken the PL instead? We had the opportunity to take the Shadow Demon. Not only is taking the Shadow Demon away good, because the Bat Rider is pretty hard countered by Shadow Demon, you can just disrupt whoever he lassos. But at the same time, it would make sure that if you picked Phantom Lancer yourself, your opponent couldn't get the Shadow Demon. So you wouldn't have to worry about the Illusion Wars. So maybe they just really don't enjoy Phantom Lancer, his playstyle. Maybe they just feel like they can win the game in the first 20 to 25 minutes, which they've shown that they can do.
Yes.
Like, there's no doubt about that. It's just, is it really wise to pick yourself into a situation where you just already have a flaw?
Right. Anyways, I mean, as you say, they have a flaw right now, but they can fix it if they want to with the last 2 picks. I'm not sure we're going to see this, probably not. But let's say if you had a Templar Assassin going mid for the QPAD Red Pandas, that will give you a really, really strong mid-game hero, so that you can make something happen. In a way, it's like a Brewmaster, but more of a, let's just try and focus and kill one hero with lots of minus armor and burst damage. And that fits very well with the Life Stealer kind of, well, I'm going to grind you into death very, very fast as well. So that, Psyblades can clear Phantom Lancer illusions really fast. I remember a long time ago, I think it was in Dota 1, when if you Psybladed the illusions, it did actually the same amount of damage they did to the illusions to the other heroes.
Wait, am I saying this right? Do they have Phantom Lancer again? I was AFK.
Yeah, they have Phantom Lancer
Welcome
again.
back, Trance, to the
Trance,
cast.
how are
Thank
you?
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
10 seconds
Carry on.
remaining.
So if you have something like that, you make your mid game really strong. A Queen of Pain would be also nice in this situation. Of course, it's banned, so it will not be something like that. What you can't do is just play passive. You have to not give any kind of space to the Phantom Lancer. The thing that we saw in the first game with that Phantom Lancer getting free farm in an aggressive trident should never ever happen if you want to win that game. Of course, the good idea was to get level 6 fast on those off lane and the mid heroes, but that clearly is not enough. Especially not with the Nature's Prophet that will TP into your lane, dive into your tower, and then kill your tower.
I like the way they coordinate this too. I mean, Virtus Pro picked a lineup where the inherent weaknesses of Phantom Lancer are what you already stated. Can you lane against him? Can you just shut him down before he gets the farm? But when you add a Nature's Prophet into the mix, Phantom Lancer's damage is actually still pretty reasonable at low level. It's more the fact that he can get focused because the strength gain isn't great.
Yeah.
That's why you can actually lane against him. But when you essentially have 4 heroes who can make it to the lane, then you really have a hard time running any aggressive lane against him at all. And when you're running a Life Stealer with a Shadow Demon, more often than not, you're going to be going for kills, but if you ever overextend and don't kill the hero fast enough, the turnaround's going to be there from VP. So do you want to actually aggressive lane here if you're Q Pandas, or do you want to take another defensive role? I'm not really seeing, like, not necessarily the game plan, because they definitely know what they're going for. It's just a matter of, is it really the best idea to pick this kind of a lineup, and when you had the opportunity to take away all of the threat that Virtus Pro had with just picking a different hero?
We'll see. I'm kind of torn in there. I still think that you have to make something happen for the Phantom Lancer. You cannot trade free farm for free farm like they did game 1.
Yeah.
Because in this time, you're not facing a Juggernaut. You know that you can win against the Juggernaut late game. But the Phantom Lancer, it gets harder and harder. And, I mean, yeah, you have the Bad Rider, but against those many illusions, you have to know exactly which one is the right one. Shadow Demon, also good for stopping the push, but not for stopping the Phantom Lancer. If you're in the middle of a team fight, just disrupting an image will not do anything to you. But rather the Phantom Lancer will keep focusing and get picked off really easily. Now Lina is a very good hero to combo with the Shadow Demon because you can get those early kills. And probably the Nature's Prophet will have a hard time if they're defensive trialing against the Nature's Prophet. But the thing is, this lineup still doesn't say anything really interesting for me in the late game. It's more of a let's try and win the lanes. Let's try and make something happen. We remember they rotate a lot with those two supports. So if they, not only they can win the Lifestealer's lane, because if they're going defensive versus defensive, the Lifestealer will get the lane for free. But if they can help them win mid and the off lane as well, then they might have a chance, even if a Phantom Lancer gets some free farm.
We haven't seen just yet what Virtus Pro is actually going to be sending mid. At the moment, they probably have the completion of the tri-lane, picking up the Bane right there. So we're going to see PL, Bane, and then, of course, Rubik. Not sure if the Nature's Prophet's going to be offlane or safe lane just yet. And QPAD, they're just going to go ahead and pick up a Tide. So whereas before they had really high pick potential, they definitely had the ability to play aggressive. Now they have, I would call, a safety net and a hero that can just completely reset the fight. You know the Bane's going to be there. Phantom Lancer is somebody who's actually pretty hard to isolate. Even if you do have things like Dust and Sentries, there can be a lot of images out. It's hard to really get him. But if you have somebody like Tide, early on, the Ravage and the Anchor Smash pretty much kills images just flat out. Then he's left by himself, and that's when PL is really his most vulnerable. So I think that QPAD has actually kind of saved their draft quite a bit with that last pick. I'm pretty sure that's going to be Select playing on Tidehunter. It could be a support, I suppose, but I'm assuming we're just going to be seeing Jerax playing the Shadow Demon again and Mini playing on the Lina, or vice versa. I guess they both play each hero. But one more coming out of Virtus Pro here.
Yep. And that last hero will probably be the mid hero, as you said. The interesting thing is, yeah, the Tidehunter will probably be played by Select, but will they do the same thing they did in game 1? Will they just move Select into the mid lane and get the Bad Rider farm into the jungle? Because if the jungle is uncontested, then it's much better to go against that than against the tri-lane. Granted, you will be giving free space to Phantom Lancer, but again, Virtus Pro didn't know how to react when their supports didn't have anything to do. It worked much better for them when they were contesting the tri-lane, because they had something to do in that lane without actually needing to rotate. But in the game 1, they were a bit lost. So now we see the Warlock as a final pick. And that's an interesting pick because everyone loves to see the Golems.
The Golems, ever since the change, I had the opportunity to play against them yesterday. Not so fun. Not so fun to get hit by those things. They do almost an unreasonable amount of damage. But I do like the fact that they pick up the Warlock here. They didn't have what I would call full-fledged team fight either. And as soon as you see a hero like Tidehunter, you think to yourself, well, we kind of need some form of counter-initiation now. Whereas before, they didn't really have that. It was more, I can teleport in KSI. We can chase pretty effectively with the Bane, spam lances, get a pick off here and there. And we saw the damage potential with the Undying in game number 2. But is Tame My Wild on this Warlock really going to have the same effect?
Yeah, we'll see. But the most important thing is Sing will be playing the Tidehunter. So we were wrong. Select will be playing the Bad Rider. His first game with the Bad Rider, let's say not the most impressive Bad Rider game I've ever seen. He was safe laning against the Cloak War and he lost that lane really badly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he has been practicing a lot. He's now probably trying something different this time. And again, it's not a Clock War, it's just something different. Probably against the Nature's Prophet, Bad Rider can do fairly well.
Well, we're going to find out. Looks like we have a quick pause here. Not sure what the issue is, but I'm sure it'll be sorted shortly. Now it's actually pretty hard to get out. So Sing playing on the Tidehunter, are they actually going to try to put him in the off lane? Are they going to defensively lane with Wagamama, Mini, and Jerax? Or are they going to put Sing in the bottom lane and potentially contend against the tri-lane and just have Select go mid? The options for QPAD are actually pretty large here. They can do basically anything they want. So without the mid pole being there, going for a defensive tri-lane, I feel, is a little bit of a waste of your support's utility. You probably want to try to go for kills. You know that VP are going to be emphasizing pretty heavily putting that Phantom Lancer in a position where you know that Airman's going to succeed. But at the same time, the wild card is always KSI. Is he going to teleport in? Is he going to go for kills? So I feel like QPandas are a little bit hard-pressed to make a better laning choice than VP, because if they don't, they can be inherently really far behind here.
Yep. And you don't want to be far behind, not only when you have a Phantom Lancer, but when you have Nature's Prophet, which can farm pretty much as fast as a Phantom Lancer, especially if you go for a quick Midas, which most Nature's Prophet favor. Even if it's not that quick, you can go for a mech first and then Midas, which we've seen often before. And it still works because you want to stretch the game anyways. The Phantom Lancer will push the lane, your ultimate will push the lanes, and if everything goes south, you still have the big rock.
Right.
And the rock has some certain synergy with Phantom Lancer as well, because you have so many illusions that will, unless you're a micro god, you will not be actually focusing all the illusions on any single target. They will probably be spawning and attacking random stuff. If you have the fatal bonds in there, even if your illusions are not attacking the optimal target, you'll still get some damage to everyone, which is always nice.
Well, it's 1-1. Last game here for at least this best of 3 series. Don't forget, guys, after this, we're going to have another best of 3 coming up almost immediately after. I think the match is roughly about 50 minutes away, if I'm not mistaken. But it's going to be Empire taking on the currently undefeated Team Liquid, and that's going to be pretty much the last match of the group. Decides who makes it and who doesn't. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. So it looks like the game has resumed. Currently, we have Virtus Pro taking on QPANDAS here, and Game 3 is underway, Bruno.
Yep, and let's introduce the players, shall we? Really quickly. I think we talked about them a little bit, but more officially. I'll start with the QPAD Pandas you go for with Virtus Pro. So we have the carry Lifestealer with Wagamama. Then we have Select playing the Vat Rider. Sing Sing playing one of the heroes that he doesn't play as much, which is the Tide Hunter. And the supports, Mini on the Shadow Demon. He's a really, really good Shadow Demon, this guy. I mean, we've normally seen Jerax playing this game, so this hero so far, but now it's Mini. And finally, Jerax getting the Lina with the new skin that is really, really fun.
And then on the side of Virtus Pro, we're going to have Phantom Lancer being played by Illidan Stormrage, a.k.a. I just always want
Airman.
Yeah, Airman. Something about his name, man, it just gets to me. Either way, Arsart standing in currently, playing on the Bane, Tenmai Wild. Going to be playing on that Warlock, probably in the middle lane, I would assume. And, of course, Rubik being played by NS. And finally, KSI for the second game in a row as well, playing on that Nature's Prophet.
So we'll see the lanes. Oh, look at that. Early dewarding by Mini. That's crucial right there. And now he plays his own ward. Jakiro ward. It's a really nice ward, by the way. But it's one thing that we talked about, the supports, and especially Jerax, but also Mini. The QPAD Red Pandas are really, really good at keeping control of the map vision and denying that map vision to the other team.
Yeah.
Which is something really, really important, especially if you want to gank, if you have a team fight somewhere and you want to just rotate, get the rune. Rune control is really important. We saw how Tenmai Wild goes crazy just because he could get every single rune the last game. If you can get that in your favor, and Warlock is not a guy that can contest runes particularly well, even though seeing is the Tide Hunter is not the best either. But I mean, if you can get that rune control, of course you'll have the advantage. It will be more Anchor Smash or more Fatal Bonds for you, so always helpful.
Well, this is an interesting matchup for me because when you have Anchor Smash, it actually reduces the damage that the creeps are going to do to the other creeps anyway, so in that sense it makes Fatal Bonds a lot less effective. But getting a quick 6 is going to help Sing to just secure those early team fights. It also allows you to play very aggressive, especially when you have another hero like Bat Rider on your team. You can just dive a tower with an early Ravage, and you know you're going to be able to get the kill, or even save it for when the TP reaction comes in. We can see Nature's Prophet being a little bit annoying, forcing the creep wave back a bit. So right now, I mean, QPANDAS, they have the opportunity to take some pretty good early game strides and mid game as well. But again, it's all going to be down to that coordination. They've put their offensive kind of a tri-lane in the safe position. So for the second game in a row, Airman's going to be getting just total free farm, going to be uninterrupted. And we have to see, can the movement of these supports make up for the fact that the early game, if you have a better late game hero and you're left alone, is already going to be ahead of what the Lifestealer is getting. So it's going to be down to these supports. Can they get anything done? And what is Wagamama going to bring during the mid game?
Well, you say that it's going to get ahead, but they're currently at the same crypts.
Well, I mean in the sense that you get ahead because you're not being pressured, and if the PL gets a free defusal, like he did in game number 2, then it's already way harder to do anything about it.
It is really hard to do, but there's always that rage that can get you out of the, not only of the purge, but also the mana burn will not affect you as much. So, yeah, definitely they have to make something happen. It's all about, again, those supports rotating enough, and that mid lane which, oh, look at that, Jerax found the invisibility rune, which spawned at 2 minutes. Does he want to take it? There's no vision from the Dire, so they could as well take it and attempt to gank if the Shadow Demon gets there, which he will. And most importantly, the Shadow Demon is level 2. And you don't want to do this before your Shadow Demon and your Lina are level 2. Because the amount of damage they can dish before that instead of after, it's a pretty huge difference. And now we see a tri-lane versus tri-lane mid situation.
I don't think we've had the opportunity to see this too much, but they realize that Airman is going to be safe. No one's going to be pressuring him. We can see that Rubik really wanted to go for a lift right there, but unfortunately couldn't get in range. And if they catch out Sing, he's a little bit tanky. I don't even know if they could kill him fast enough to where the supports of QPANDAS wouldn't be able to just get in position themselves and completely turn it. And that D ward that you were talking about at the very beginning of the game is pretty key here, because if they had seen that, there's a chance that they might have just gone for it anyway. And not only that, but Warlock is a very vulnerable mid until level 6. He's very easy to gank. The only downside is there's really only one place for QPANDAS to gank, and that's going to be that middle lane. If they go top, they have to commit a lot to killing Airman. He's already level 4. He's actually going to go for quick tranquils, it looks like, but he's saving up money anyway, so we'll see if he wants to finish those before going straight for the Diffusal Blade.
Sorry, I got distracted. It seems Lifestealer got pulled lots of... Like, he only went for 2 Iron Branches and got pulled the Tangos, because it's less than 3 minutes into the game and he already has the Midas recipe. Yeah. Which is really, really fast. I mean, to get those 450 goals that he needs for the Gloves of Haste, it will just require 2 Cryptwaves. So we're seeing below 4 minutes Hand of Midas. I don't think there has been many games that have done that, but I can tell you right now because I do have the stats.
I'm guessing 3.
Well, that's why you're the stat man, because you actually have all the stats.
I know, right?
The other pause going to be done here. Game will commence. And the supports from both teams kind of just wandering around. We can see that VP is doing some pulling in the top lane. Bane's trying to get some EXP. He's actually stacking right now. And then KSI is just kind of farming away in the jungle. So Batrider jungle versus a Nature's Prophet jungle. Batrider actually jungles a little bit slower at first, but he picks up speed very, very fast, and then he'll get his level 6, he'll get his Blink Dagger, and then start to be active. We can see that there's actually been quite a few single pulls done here in the top lane. There are 3 range creeps here, and that pretty much it doesn't happen unless you're doing some other pulling outside of stacking.
I really want to check this Midas time, because I just checked out, and there are 3 sub 4 minutes Midas. You were right, Scriff, congratulations. They were Jackal playing the Anti-Mage, actually Mini playing the Lone Druid in a pulse game just way before the QPAD with Pandas, and Loda playing the Gyrocopter against Mouse. All this year, I think probably during February or March, I don't have the exact date. So if he gets it right now, which probably he won't, he can do it. Just one more last hit.
You got it.
Yep, there you go.
Well, he doesn't actually have it, though, so can you count that? Like, as the stat man, he doesn't have the Glove of Haste, so you say that this is still under a 3-minute Midas because he had the money to buy the Midas? Oh,
no, he actually needs to have the Midas, but... Whoops, nothing happens there. Oh, they're going to counter initiation.
They're going to go ahead and get a Gush. Throws out the Disruption, maybe a little bit early. Sing's going to get slept here. Lightstrike Array will be following up. This could be first blood. Telekinesis on a Sing. It's not going to be enough to save NS, unfortunately. So Rubik going to be dropping. Another Anchor Smash goes off. Lightstrike Array way off the mark, but... Auto attacks coming out. Bottle between the auto attack. Not enough to keep him alive. Sing taking tower shots right now. There is still Fatal Bonds in the creeps. He gets nightmared. Is Mini actually going to wake him up? He does, but Sing's still going to be dropping to Arsart. So,
now Mini
2 and 2. KSI, does he actually have any points in his Sprout right now? Yes, he does. So, oh wow, really nice Tango timing. That was pretty much instant. Didn't even lose travel time. Flame Break coming out from just nowhere, I guess. Suddenly a Flame Break. But all said and done, 2 for 2, but QPANDAS manages to secure themselves the first blood.
Yep, and that's a good first blood to have, because it's in the mid lane, you just give some advantage. And look at that, Wagamama was able to push much faster than the Phantom Lance. Well, not much faster, but faster enough. So he will be taking that first tower. We need, you know what, we need some kind of first blood for towers as well.
Yeah, we need that, and we also need how many tower last hits matter. Like, if the carry gets all the tower last hits, does he win more? Or does the gold going to the team instead actually make them win more? We need that stat too.
You know what? I have the information, so I'm going to work on that stat for next time.
Ravage on mid, Tamai Wild, getting his Soul Catcher, and follow-up stun. He is actually very tanky. Fortunately not tanky enough to live through that kind of a combo, but that was... I mean, that was a lot of hate for a Warlock who's not even level 6. He's only level 5.
Well, you don't want him to get level 6, because once he gets level 6, then the teamfight goes up exponentially. So they might want to secure that he'll have a rougher time. Also, a rougher time means later Aghanim Scepter, and the Aghanim Scepter is quite annoying, because if one golem really hurts, 2 golems hurt double.
Yeah.
That's some math right there. You should be impressed.
That's why you're the stat man. Like,
I know, right?
I just expect this high level from you.
You know what to expect from me. Anyways, the Lifestealer now decides to rotate into the jungle. Of course, we talked about how important it is to get 2 towers and not 1, because if you just make 1, then you're not safe farming that lane. So until the lane gets pushed towards the tier 1 tower, he just goes for the jungle. Because he's a Lifestealer, he can do it. Not the fastest jungler in the world, we have to say. Yeah. But it's enough. He has the Hand of Midas to make up for that. And because he has that, and Phantom Lancer is not, even if Phantom Lancer gets more gold, he will definitely get more XP.
And that's really important. We actually hit a bit on that about Lifestealer earlier, and just the levels are almost as important as the gold for him because every single point into rage scales very, very well. Every single point into open wounds, especially lowering the cooldown. I don't think people realize it almost halves the cooldown, maybe even more so when the open wounds goes from level 1 to 4. So in that sense, you just get this ability to chase, stick targets more efficiently during fights, and of course Feast is very, very nice to just do that extra damage. So Sing picking up an end his rune here. He's going for a bit of a split build. He's got 1 point in a Kraken Shell. And he's looking at Tame My Wild right now. He doesn't have Ravage, but the Light Strike Array is actually going to miss. The counter Chaotic Offering comes out. Sing in quite a bit of trouble here. Can they actually take him down? KSI going to teleport in. The damage over time will eventually get the kill on Sing. Soul Catcher's going to come out on Tame My Wild. He's sitting in the far back. Oh, the Lights, or excuse me, the Dragon Slave actually picks him off. Very, very long distance. I can't believe that actually hit him. That was like from one side of the river to the other.
That only worked because he has the fancy skin. If you have the normal skin, that
makes it longer.
Yeah,
makes it longer.
Makes it longer. In-game advantage. Val, please fix. No, not really. Actually, he was like max range Dragon Slave. And, no, sorry, it's not... what's the name of this?
Yeah, that's Dragon Slave.
Dragon Slave.
It's not Salve Trance.
Yeah.
It's Dragon Slave.
Dragon Slave.
Thank you.
Yeah, not Dragon Salve. Salve heals you. Slave.
Yeah,
slave.
a dragon in a bottle that gives you health. That is the name of the ability. So
yeah. It's I just realized it's your Dragon Slave, so she has an enslaved dragon.
yeah, a fire dragon apparently.
That's fancy. I want one. Buy me one.
I don't know if I have that kind of money.
Oh, well.
If dragons were actually for sale, I mean this is Skyrim, so technically they could be here.
Yes.
But could we find a fire dragon here? I think it would be like ice dragons.
Ice dragons would be easier, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to the game. We're seeing probably a push. Now they know that Warlock doesn't have that ultimate. It's just 90 minutes on cooldown, so
Yeah,
no
they have
threat
Ravage
coming
too.
from him. Just those annoying fatal bones, but as annoying as they are, it's not a big rock coming into you. On Waga joining, he just decides, okay, I will stop farming. I will just help the team, just get the push. Rather, I will not. I will just go back to the jungle. I still have 47 seconds of my Midas. I think I can clear the jungle once and then get a Midas hit on one of the really big creeps. And we'll be fine. But as we say that, there's a pause.
Mm-hmm.
On a point where
Got a
we
little bit
see-
of lag,
Yeah.
apparently.
And also lots of stacks. Lifestealer not the best hero to clear those stacks.
Well,
But-
you can use Infest. It's not terrible, and the supports can actually nuke him down pretty effectively. Plus, Sing has Anchor Smash.
Yep.
They have a lot of spam between those heroes. I don't think they're actually stacking for him. I
No.
think they're actually just stacking for the supports instead, or maybe Sing if he wants to go for that Blink Dagger. And Sing's actually been kind of holding his own. He's still getting out CS'd a little bit by the Warlock, but typically when you see a melee matchup versus a Warlock, the Warlock just totally dominates. A lot of that, again, is due to the fact that QPANdas have been really good about their movement in the early game. They managed to get the first blood. They killed Tame My Wild again with probably the longest distance Dragon Slave I've ever
Oh,
seen.
we forgot about the Bad Rider. That was what the stack was for.
Blink
Now-
Dagger, man.
Yep. Bad Rider soon to be level 8. Really, really close to that Blink Dagger. He'll have it probably at the 10-11 minute mark. And when a Blink Dagger and level 8 on the Bad Rider, things start to hurt really much. If you can jump onto the Warlock before he can pop the rock, well, you have half the team fight won right there.
Well, we'll see if they can actually manage to make it happen. Lina and Shadow Demon still a bit underleveled. I wouldn't say a lot. They're still ahead of the supports of Virtus Pro, who are looking very, very sad at the moment. So once Mini actually gets level 6, he's going to be able to just purge that Warlock Golem straight away, which is a huge deal. The damage isn't going to be able to come out, and that's pretty much what you want it for. The mini stun is great. The damage that you get when you get the stun is also pretty nice, but you really want the Golem to last a while, get at least a few swings off to make the Fatal Bonds damage actually go to its fullest extent, whereas when you get it purged, well, it's not really going to do much of anything. So some tower pressure being applied here by QPANdas. They're kind of just grouped up at the moment, both carries from each team respectively farming, but the thing about VP is they actually have two heroes who can always farm. One is the PL, because they know that the Lifestealer is actually farming, and the Nature's Prophet can just sit in the jungle and teleport to whatever fight he needs to. KSI doesn't need to rotate at all. He's actually got his urn already done. He's got the buckler. He's going for that very, very fast mechanism. And in game number 1, KSI actually had pretty big impact with his mechs. Even if it doesn't save the hero, it draws out the team fight a little bit more. And when you have things like Fatal Bonds going, you have Phantom Lancer who's just going to make more and more illusions. Bane has nice control. It's actually kind of good for them to draw it out a little bit. So for QPANdas, I feel like they still want to be applying some pressure here. Airman is getting very, very close to his Diffusal Blade, if not already just totally completed it. Yeah, he's only about 500 away, so once he gets that, that's pretty much going to be the point where Virtus Pro can start to take fights whenever they want.
And it's the same problem we saw in Game 2. The other difference is that while during Game 2, the Phantom Lancer got the same amount of free farm, the thing was that the laning phase was going too much into VP's favor. This time, it's pretty even. We see a kill advantage on QPanda. We see one tower died for each side, while in the other game, it was all the towers going in Virtus Pro favor. So, I mean, it's kind of a similar situation, but different in a way. So now the Blink Dagger is completed on Select. Maybe if we get the next initiation properly, of course, they will not stop the Phantom Lancer from getting that Diffusal Blade, because he's pretty much there anyways. But if they can actually make some pressure into the other heroes of the team, I don't know, might be a different story this time. And we see a lasso on the Phantom Lancer.
Wild. Is he going to die before he can drop the rock? No, he's not. He actually gets the wand off. Open Wounds comes out. Sing so low from the Chaotic Offering. He actually has an Invis rune. No one is nearby with the Fatal Bonds on to do damage to get the kill. And, oh, Manny getting caught out by the Fiend's Grip. Wagon coming in, wants to try to get the kill. Brain Sap will eventually kill Mini. Arzark going to be able to treat back into tower range. So currently, kind of a wash in an exchange, honestly. Sing actually managed to get away with basically no health. They did use the Chaotic Offering, but at the same time, they also used Lasso. Sure, Chaotic Offering is a longer cooldown, so in that sense, maybe QPANDAS came out a bit ahead. They only traded his support for a mid-hero. But still, the Phantom Lancer hasn't really been addressed. KSI, in the meantime, he's pushing bottom. He's got the money for his mechanism, and I seriously doubt that Virtus Pro are going to let something like that happen again without just a full-fledged reaction.
Yep. You know, an interesting thing about Chaotic Offering, I think it's only one of the two skills in the game that has a longer than 160 cooldown, seconds of cooldown. The other one being Enigma Black Hole. Maybe I'm forgetting another one, but I'm pretty sure those are the two. They have longer than 160 seconds, which means that if you get a Refresher Orb, I was actually checking the other day, there's no point in saving the Refresher Orb after using your ultimate. Because as they have even longer cooldown, that means that if you wait for the Refresher Orb for the next time you have your ultimate, you just have the refresh. Yeah, you have the Refresher Orb again. So, and if you wait like for the right time, you're pretty much spending mana that you could have spent immediately after using the ultimate anyways. So it's interesting to see that this is one of the two scenarios where having a Refresher Orb forces you or encourages you to use the Refresher Orb always after you use the cooldown, the ultimate.
We'll see if he actually has enough money to get a Refresher Orb. Taimai Wild really hasn't had the best game. Sing's actually starting to pull ahead in terms of overall farm. We saw smoke up here from QPANDAS, but I think they actually already got revealed. So they're going to be walking towards bottom. They have their Ravage off cooldown. Warlock ulti is down. Taimai Wild's going to get caught here in the side of the woods. Here comes the Blink Lasso from Select. Should be a free kill. Laguna Blade comes out too. NS going to get disrupted. Very nice by Mini. Can a Light Strike Array land? It looks like it will. Gush comes out. Earn not even necessary as Wagga actually manages to get the kill on NS. Now they're looking at the tier 2. I don't know how... Did he didn't infest? I don't even know how he hit him.
I don't know. Wow. Maybe he has a Dagon?
No, he was making an Armor last time I checked. Select. Looks like he was going to get dove there. Jerax TPing. They want to get this deny on a tier 2. Quite low. In the meantime, QPANDAS going to be able to secure the tier 2.
They get the deny, and now they get the tower here as well, which goes for the Shadow Demon, not the hero you might want to go that tower. But anyways, a tower is a tower. It's over 1,000 gold if you get last hit, so it's going to be okay.
KSI, he'll be fine. Yeah, he's not going to get killed that quickly.
Nope. Oh, and the Infest casually used to stop the push. It's actually quite a long cooldown. 100 seconds is nothing to ignore right there. If you're using that Infest, you're committing pretty much that you're not having any kind of teamfight in the next minute and a half, which is kind of big. But anyways, they still have the Ravage up. The Lasso should be ready in about 30 seconds, I guess, if my calculations are correct. Oh, even that less than that, 20 seconds. And they feel confident enough so that he can go for the second tier tower. And that's the thing about Phantom Lancer. Now he has the same game that the other game. He pretty much got the defeated at the same time. He's having free farm, he's having fun. But because the rest of the team is not as dominating as it was before, well, they are the ones getting pushed. They are the ones in the pressure. And
Rock's going to go off. Manages to hit 4. Fatal Bond's not going to quite beat her, though. Nice Ravage. Hits pretty much the entirety of Virtus Pro, and QPANDAS looking pretty good. Mech is popped. Sing actually still taking quite a bit of damage. NS in the backside. He actually gets Purge Wagga under the tower, and he's Fiend's Grip right now. Is there any help for Wagga at all? It looks like there won't be. Select Firefly will end. Sing trying to back off. Fatal Bonds eventually does go out. Brain Sap is there. Will the Image actually get the kill on Sing? Long distance, and the Image actually blocks him in, but Select should be able to TP out of here. Fatal Bonds still doing damage. How did QPANDAS not lose more right there? It really looked at the beginning. The Ravage hit pretty much everyone, but nobody stopped the Fiend's Grip. KSI going to be able to pick off Mini here with the help of Taimai Wild. So Warlock actually gets the kill on that one. And ultimately, VP defend in pretty convincing fashion.
Yep, and they... Oh, look at that, Jerax. dodging Arsart. I mean, I think his speed is good enough so that he can run away. But he's being chased by both sides, so now he'll go into the juking spot. See if he can TP. Oh, nice juke. Beautiful juke. They see Slade and say, well, we're not going to... Yeah. Look at that. That much investment. Of course, they know...
Oh, he's going to get spotted out. He actually walked right into him and then turned around because of the pathing. Ice Frog fixed the pathing.
The pathing is kind of weird, isn't it?
He's going to get caught out here. Wagamama going straight onto NS. Rubik is going to be the first one to drop. Jerax looks for a stun.
Nice
actually
stun.
manages it too. Arzard and Tamai Wild both in some trouble. Select getting bursted down so fast, though, because of the Brain Sap. Sing continuing to chase. Looks like in the back, Mini manages to kill on Phantom Lancer, so no carry now for VP. And just as we were talking about a really nice team fight for VP, QPAD managed to turn it around. And they get Tamai Wild for one trade right there. And QPAD, very, very nice defense of their own.
Yep, that was a really, really good defense. Jerax seemed to be in such an unfavorable position, being chased by 3 heroes, but he found the perfect juke spot. Not only that, the moment where they find it was crucial, because by that point they saw Select and they were really hesitant to go into the Jerax because, well, Bad Rider is there, he probably has the lasso. There may be someone else coming, and immediately all the rest of the team just comes here, drop the sentry, kill Airman, which is really, really important, and then clean up. So it's 13-6 for the QPAD Red Pandas now, and it's looking much better than Game 2, but not as good as Game 1. So, we'll see.
Well, they definitely need to keep in mind that the longer this game goes, the harder that Phantom Lancer is going to be to deal with. And we can see the gold lead. It's actually going pretty favorably right now for QPAD, that team fight was actually huge. The Rock, unfortunately, they had to use it mid, so we talked about that over 160-second cooldown and how that can come into play. And it can really become an issue. If QPAD are really good at exploiting the timings, they just push in when they know you don't have the fullest extent of your team fight, it's very easy to just get a huge turnaround like that. And I think VP just overstayed their welcome a little bit.
Yes. They'll have to group up right now. They have the Rock again, as you said, and they will have to think what their next step is. They don't have... The interesting thing is that they still haven't gotten the Tier 1 bottom, not the Tier 1 mid. They took both Tier 1 and Tier 2 from top, but we've talked on and on about how those 2 towers are the least important in all the games for both teams.
Oh, Rock comes out. Jerax going to eat the Fatal Bond. Select goes in, goes for a counter initiation. Ravage will make contact on 3. It looks like NS actually stole something, but not before Tamai Wild's going to be dropping along with Bane. Buyback comes out of Jerax. He immediately TPs back towards mid. No one on the side of QPAD, aside from him, have dropped just yet, but they managed to get 2. Airman lives through the exchange this time, doesn't end up chasing away from his team and dying all by himself. And the Golem just got immediately purged there as well.
Sorry about that. Not only do they get they just wasted, pretty much, the chaotic offering. And that's huge, because we were talking about how long cooldown that is. Fortunately, they didn't get the Fiend's Grip there, which would have been really a pain. But without a Fiend's Grip, what can you do right now? And look at that, there's just 2 Phantom Lancer illusions trying to create duplicates and make the push stronger. They will burn the Blyph, but at the end, I don't think they will be able to defend this tower. Though there are some TPs incoming. And it's just Tamai Wild without an ultimate, he's just Fatal Bonds walking machine. And I started looking for the Fiend's Grip, but it's not gonna happen because there are too many heroes clumped together that even if you get one of them, the other ones will be just running to defend the Fiend Gripped one.
I have to say, this tied mid is actually working out very, very well for QPAD so far. It's a hero that gets a pretty reasonable amount of farm. You don't necessarily need a blink on him. Oh, speaking of blink, Select gonna blink on Arsart, gets immediately telekinesis back though. Arsart just gets evaporated though by the Laguna Blade. Jerax picks up the kill. NS trying to make it back to base. Wagga currently pursuing. That's gonna be a mega kill for him. They pop the dust, but Airman is actually already inside of his space, so he's not gonna be in any immediate danger. So 2 more supports go down the way of QPAD and a buyback as KSI is pushing into the bottom tier 2, but I guess NS just wanted to casually buy back to sit in his base. I don't know. I don't know about that one.
I don't know. Why so many buybacks? That's a weird, weird question. See, can he TP? There's nothing
like we'll be able to make it,
We'll be able to make it, yep, easily. Because they don't have the Flame Break, and, well, not enough mana at least for Flame Break. And Wagamama is still away from his Basher, but I wouldn't be surprised if he actually goes for Basher right now. He has enough money to buy a full one, and even have a little bit more gold. And even, he can go for the Sacred Relic and just go straight for a, an Abyssal if he wants to, but that's a big investment for an item that, yeah, gives you damage, but not more than that. And with 3.8k, you just want to make something more interesting. Maybe he goes against for the heart, like he did last time, and people will have to start ignoring him. The problem is that the Phantom Lancer can kill a Knight with a heart.
Yes.
Oh, well, he went for the race car.
He went for the SNY. I was actually going to mention the heart too, but mainly the reason why you get a hard is in situations where you feel like you need somebody who can tank the tier 3 tower to push up into the ramp. And of course, like you said, you can't really focus him anymore after he gets it. But in this case, they have the Tide Hunter, they have a Life Stealer, they have a mech, whereas the previous game they didn't. So they didn't necessarily need the extra survivability from the heart. Just being able to get the stats from an SNY, the ability to chase, I think will be more than enough. Because looking at their team, VP really only has Bane to shut down Wagga, and I guess the Chaotic Offering, and that's it. If you get sprouted in, somebody can stun for you, or the Firefly can just break down the trees. There are ways that you can get broken out of it, whereas if you get Fiend's Grip, you pretty much need Sing to eat a Ravage, you need a Disruption, you need something else to come out of your team.
Oh, TPs are coming mid. There seems to be a difference. Do they want to fight this? No. Tame My Wild quickly runs away. They know that every other hero is coming, except from Wagga is coming as well, but it's a long, long TP, and he says, well, no, I'd rather stay. Now Fury is split pushing bottom. That's the good thing about Fury. You can just stay there, push your tower, kind of like the way a Broodmother would do. And you have to commit some heroes to defend him. And at this point, what can you get? Oh, look at that.
Oh, selecting to spot out KSI. Can he get the lasso off in time? Or actually, the question is, can he get him close enough to the rest of his team? KSI going to try to teleport out once again. There's a Light Strike array. Laguna Blade comes out as well. Pops the mech. Soul Catcher is on. Simply cannot live through the damage. The low cooldown of Flame Break coming up right at the end of that engagement. Manages to get a kill on the split pusher. And that's actually a very huge pick. Because normally, if you're just pressuring a lane, KSI would be able to counter push you, maybe force your supports back, or maybe even Sing or Wagga at some stage. Now with him dead for another 30 seconds, they can potentially look to go for either Roshan, or maybe even start to pressure the tier 2 top.
Yep, and they seem to want to go for Roshan right now, or at least it's where everyone's heading. Maybe, yeah, getting the room control. Do they have any sentries? I don't think they do have a sentry, but it's okay. Because they know that at this point, there's nothing that VP can do. Of course, there's a rock, there's a Fatal Bond, but if you see them coming before, well, you might be able to respond to that. And also, Roshan will be running really, really fast. Virtus Pro is not aware that they're doing there. They'll just, maybe they're in the jungle, they say. Maybe they just go and try to look for a fight.
KSI TP is bottom, actually. It looks like he wants to try to split push in the meantime. Maybe they just don't feel like they can contend this, so 4 staff now completed on select as Roshan does die. Wagamama picks up the Aegis of the Immortal. So now, actually their base is being a little bit pressured by Phantom Lancer Illusions, and KSI was on the other side of the map doing some other stuff, but it looks like they finally die. So all the lanes, aside from mid, on the side of QPAD are pretty shoved. So they need to eventually address that unless they want their tier 2 to just die. But KSI actually TP's bottom again. I'm sure he's still carrying a TP scroll, so he wants to continue his split pushing shenanigans.
Right, of course he has a TP scroll, because that's what you need when you're doing a split pushing Fury and you're getting so pushed against your base. But do they want to go here? That's the interesting thing. They do have all the ultimates up. Infest is up, Ravage is up, there's a Blink Dagger on Sing. Actually, I think that Lance was going for Sing, but it didn't hit him, so he still has the Blink Dagger if he wants to go. There's smoke behind the tower, so... Oh, that 4 stuff was interesting, but nothing really happened out of it. So Wagga taking the fight, and they just go back. They have to be happy with that, because KSI by this time got a free tier 2 tower. Will he push his lag? No, probably he'll have to defend right now, because next wave comes, they will really quickly clear this, and now they're in for a fight.
Well, a select went in right there for Airman. He really wanted him, saw the blood in his eyes. Going to see a disruption on the images of Airman to add to the push a little bit. But no creeps means they can't actually split, which is a little bit unfortunate. And NS being forced to pop the rage that he stole from Wagamama.
Wow,
and the tower gets denied by Tame My Wild. In the meantime, KSI is still pressuring the tier 3 bottom. This is a little bit of a race. Oh, nice rock comes out. Sing actually gets Fiend's Grip after the Ravage animation, so it actually cancels Arsart's animation completely. Wagga, sitting on basically no health, goes to the armor toggle, will get it off. KSI just teleporting in the middle of basically death. Buyback straight away. Rax still haven't been sieged. I don't know if it was such a good idea for him to go in. And Wagga is still not dead. He probably could have armor toggled right there, but I guess he just decided not to. Wanted to be full HP once again. Melee Rack still under siege. Arsark gets picked off by a stray Flame Break, courtesy of Select. This is going to be a Melee Racks here. QPandas take a very, very good spot. Select actually retreating out of the base as we see Arsark buy back. Jerax gets Telekinesis. Yeah, he's not going to be making it away, unfortunately. Airman continues to chase, looking for somebody. Looks like it's going to be Mini. Mini does not have a TP, by the way, so this is a very sad spot for him to be in. Gets purged by the Purge Blade. Disruption's going to go off, but yeah, Mini's pretty much dead here. Yep. And they managed to eventually push everyone out.
Oh, look at the damage on AA! AA is going to die!
Oh my goodness.
Phantom Lancer Illusions.
Phantom Lancer Illusions. Traitorous Phantom Lancer Illusions. Of course, that was because of the disruption before. Very, very nice awareness by Mini to be able to pick up that kill.
Yep.
So, they get a Melee Rax. They lost their tier 3 bottom, which isn't, I guess, a huge deal. But KSI, I think it would have been better for him to just trade. Like, why would the Nature's Prophet teleport into the middle of the entirety of QPANDAS.
Not only that, they had also the lasso up, so as soon as he teleported, the lasso went to KSI, he died. It's a huge loss for them because they want to, I mean, yes, they're relying on the Phantom Lancer, which only has a Diffusal Blade and a Yasha. For having an 11 minutes Diffusal Blade, of course, it's level 2 now, but you'd expect more than a Yasha and just an upgrade right now. So his farm is being stopped. Nature's Prophet, again, quick mech, quick earn. Now going for probably a Shipstick. He can go for a Manta as well. He can go for Lincoln, probably a Shipstick. But very far away from that. On the other hand, we see things he have at the time of his life. He has the bongos that you really like. He has the mech. He has all the utility items that his team needs. Look at, well, Lifestealer, 3k in the bank again. What can you do with 3k in the bank? Pretty much everything. And now they decide to actually go on for a smoke and fight some kills. If he can get something going on here, they can pretty much push and get one of the tier 2, either the tier 2 top or just pressure the lane's bottom and get maybe a tier 3 or a Rax even.
Well, I think if they just go through mid, get a handful of kills, they can just go straight through, go bottom, kill that tier 3. But it looks like they want to go top instead. Airman's going to get spotted out. They know he's there. The smoke is already broken. Can't sing, get anything off in time. Select, looks like he wants to go for the lasso, and Airman's still taking quite a bit of damage. And yeah, that's a very dead, very dead Phantom Lancer. Unfortunately, yeah. The Bat Rider, he's got the eyeball that sees invisible targets, and that's a risk that honestly he had to take. He knew he was getting far behind. So he either farm a lane, or you unfortunately get Fiend Script if you select. There's the rock cannon, nice comes out, Sing actually blinks and gets a Ravage on 2. Eats a stolen Laguna Blade by NS, but it basically does no damage. Mech is going to be popped already. Tamai Wild dropping, of course, and the Crossfire. Jerax picking up that kill. NS is going to be the next one as Wagga gets that, and now the tier 3 under siege. And I don't think that there's really much VP can do about this. Phantom Lancer is back alive, but Wagga just simply doesn't care. He isn't feeble at the moment, so Airman's not taking that much damage. And here comes Select. He's actually going to get KSI instead of Airman, and KSI is just getting completely destroyed here. Nightmare onto Sing, but Mini immediately wakes him up. And tier 3 still being attacked. Wagga actually getting beaten down slowly but surely here.
They don't have the creeps.
They don't have the creep wave,
So all of these, while interesting, didn't accomplish much. But I mean, it's getting ahead and ahead. One more K for the Lifestealer. He's almost 4k right now, so he can go for pretty much whatever he wants. All the big items are on every one of the heroes. And most importantly, the Nature's Prophet and the Lancer keep dying and dying. Of course, Lancer has earned the nickname of the Cancel Lancer, but if you're 3, 3, and 5, 30 minutes into the game, well, you're not doing the right Cancel Lancer kind of thing.
Yeah, he's actually 0-2 and 3. It's bad. It's bad
sorry.
life.
Wow.
Yeah,
what's
it's a bad life for the Phantom Lancer at the moment. So KSI actually has the most kills on his team, sitting at just 3, and that just goes to show how well QPANDAS have been doing. Pretty much, we talked about how they needed to apply pressure. We talked about how important it was to get those team fights under their belt, and they did just that. Every single move they made pretty much had either caught VP out or they weren't really fully prepared to take it in general, and then they just ended up losing heroes. And how often have we seen a Warlock so underfarmed at 29 minutes into the game, almost 30? He doesn't have even a mech, of course. KSI bought that, but he's not anywhere close to his Aghanim, so there's not going to be the double golem. It's going to get purged every single fight. And I think this Warlock, not really the most effective pick that I think I've seen.
Well, the idea with the pick was okay. To be fair, as you said, Warlock wins against most of the melee heroes mid, just because that Fatal Bond spam is really strong. But the Tide Hunter, they couldn't stop him. He's so tanky. He had everything going for him. The anchor smashes were crucial. They were driving him back the lane. And eventually it was not as impactful as he would expect. So now, look at that, breaking high ground. No one really cares. Just let's go straight for the mid tower. The creeps are not there, but because the mid creeps are, they can really push. So there will be no backdoor protection this time. And KSI doing what KSI does, trying to counter push instead.
He's trying to push in. Lasso on a Tamai Wild. His ultimate's not even up, but they just completely pop him. Ravage is going to hit the remaining members of Virtus Pro. Laguna Blade goes out onto Arsar. He's going to be dropping next. Looks like Laguna Blade got stolen by NS, but the Light Strike Array from Jerax and the mech popped. 3 heroes actually make that 4. 1 buys back. Looks like this is the series of the buybacks as Arsar's already back alive again. And QPANDAS, they're going to be able to get the second melee racks. KSI, though, He is not done. Select going to spot him out. Flame breaks him back inside of the base. He's going to go for a TP, but the Flame breaks down. No lasso either, but the Light Strike array from Jerax is there. They manage to catch him, but he's so tanky. He gets 4 staff, but that unfortunately does not stop channeling. And KSI is going to be able to teleport back to base. 2 sets of racks completely down in favor of QPandas. 31 minutes in. I think it's looking pretty likely that they're going to take it.
Yep. A bit, that's a happy face. A bit of a mistake from Select, going straight for the Flame Break. You should always wait to cancel the TP with that. Of course, Jerax was there to save him, but if he has saved the Flame Break for later, maybe they could have stopped the second TP as well. And of course, you can use that as many times as you want, as long as you don't finish channeling.
Right.
But it's still enough time to actually disrupt him and maybe get the kill. KSI, really tanky, 1.6k a mech in his name, so hard to kill, but again, not getting anything accomplished that. There's the Braxis bottom lane are still up.
Yep.
So
they did a reasonable amount of damage to the racks, but the Glyph immediate teleport reaction came in from QPandas. They were unable to really do much anything about it. At least KSI wasn't. He tried his best. He ended up getting out with his life, which is more than I think even he was expecting in that situation. Both teams now carrying a gem. Taimai Wild on the side of VP, and of course Select has had his for quite a while for QPandas. And VP, they are smoked up currently in their own jungle, looking to try to catch out QPandas before they get to the tier 2 sentry, or excuse me, observer ward placed in lane just to get that vision. Select is actually not here, so it's a 4-on-4. Mini getting caught out completely by himself. The Rock stops any counter engagement. Mini already down. We're going to see the Fiend's Grip onto Wagamama, not taking that much damage. Sing comes in, Ravage is on cooldown for another 30 seconds. Waga completely out of mana at this point. Manages to get the Abyssal off onto Arsart. Will end up taking him down. Waga trying to get out of here, but he just can't do it. Select finally in the team fight gets a lasso onto Taimai Wild. Not sure if that was the best target. Pretty much already used everything, and it's going to be forced retreat. Gets telekinesis used on him. Light Strike Array was there, stolen from NS, but not able to really do much. And now Airman chasing down Select. Ghost Scepter is popped. Select stuck up on the high ground, and he is Shadow Warded, so he's eventually going to die. Nope, looks like NS is going to get the kill instead. Gem up on the high ground. Can they actually get there? So I don't even know if they know it's up there.
I don't know. They probably know that Select had the gem, but maybe they forgot about it. Some people are pinging. There has to be a 4-staff. I think in Warlock. Warlock has a 4-staff. So if you want to 4-staff up there, get the gem and then wait another 15 seconds or so. Maybe they can send the courier as well. But not the courier is just getting...
Yeah, I don't think they know it's there. I think they just... Either that or they don't care. Yep. One or the other.
If you want to care, because when you're so behind, you lost 2 lanes of Raxes, you at least want to get some kind of map control. Yeah. And that's what they're doing right now. I mean, they got this really... I mean, let's face it, this was a really good team for Virtus Pro. Right. They got the best out of what they could. And they're making the most of it right now by going also after Roshan, which is really good. And look at Mini, making his own army. They will be able to get this Rosh if the QPAD Red Pandas do not react in time. And, well, they seem to just be content going there. Jerax is TPing me. No, they know now.
Yeah, they are all going in. Roshan quite low. This could be one of the last big team fights. Airman actually going to stay inside of the pits. Like blinks in, but gets immediately hexed out. The Ravage comes out, but looks like Phantom Lancer still is able to secure the Aegis. KSI, unfortunately, not going to be so lucky. Ends up dying. Taimai Wild brought back into the Roshan pit. It's now, we'll call it the Fire Dome, as there is fire everywhere. And it looks like Arsart's going to be dying. So 4 down on the side of VP. Airman, you got the Aegis, but your team is unfortunately not there to help you. It doesn't look like there are any buybacks on the side of VP either. I don't think a Phantom Lancer is going to be enough to defend 5 heroes.
Nope. Really,
oh, the Warlock did have a buyback.
Suddenly a buyback out of their pocket, which is okay because they have still 25 seconds.
Oh, he just got enough money, that's why.
Yep.
He has 10 gold.
But anyways, they just got there. It'll be interesting to see if they can defend. They still have the tier 2 tower top, so they can't go straight for the Mega Cliff. They could have attempted going for the GG, but I mean, if you can get a free tier 2 tower, might as well do it. You're ahead, you know that. I don't know how much gold the Phantom Lancer has right now, but if you compare the net worth of each hero, yeah, it's 8k ahead. That's pretty much a lot.
Wagger's almost doubling him. That's a lot of gold difference, and that just goes to show how well QPandas have done in pressuring that Phantom Lancer. He hasn't been able to just sit there and farm, like we saw in game number 2, where VP were just able to basically ride his coattails to victory because the PL they didn't have anything to deal with him. This game, they had the Ravage. They just have pretty much really good AoE supports, I would say that. Anchor Smash is really nice. You have the Dragon Slay, the Light Strike Array. Even Poison at this late stages in the game and Firefly are still reasonable for killing illusions. And then, of course, Shadow Demon can make his own army. So it's not really as big of a bother. We saw the Scythe of Ice used by Nature's Prophet in the last team fight, so KSI's got that now. It was actually really nice timing. He just knew that Select was going to be coming in, maybe going for the steal. But ultimately, VP lost that team fight. Even getting an Aegis, I wouldn't really count that a win. They lost their tier 2. But getting the Aegis does pose an interesting question. Can they actually defend with their entire team up and an Aegis to prevent Megas?
Well, maybe if they have buyback on Furion, Nature's Prophet, they might be able to. But the way it is now, they have every ultimate up, they have the Rock, but if the heroes die, even if Phantom Lancer dies and respawn, without any kind of support, it will be really, really hard to hold that lane.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe they'll just have to turtle a little bit more. I know no one likes to see lots of turtling because it seems a bit boring. But anyways, at this point, if you're Virtus Pro, you really want to make something out of this game and maybe try to pull up a really, really huge upset. It has to be a really huge upset. But, I mean, why not try, right?
Well, more disruptions going out, and I totally agree. I feel like if this game extends, like for instance, QPANDAS aren't able to crack the base here, and Virtus Pro wins a pretty big team fight, there is the possibility that they could still come back. Because Phantom Lancer is still Phantom Lancer, and during the late game, the Lifestealer is not going to have much to deal with him. Sure, they have the Ravage, they have a decent amount of burst, but once he gets up the heart, he's going to be able to tank through that support damage that we've been seeing so much of, because QPANDAS love picking that Shadow Demon and Lena combo just to be able to pick somebody off really fast. Force Staff into an immediate rock. Waggus is in trouble. Counter initiation from Sing. He hits everyone with his Ravage, and Airman already gets his Aegis popped completely. KSI trying to retreat back into the base. A little bit late on the mech right there. Wagga taking some damage of his own. Actually, Abyssal's a creep on accident. Oops. And Airman trying to retreat back into base, but they do have detection. So that's going to be a double kill for Jerax. Probably GG, as KSI is going to be dying here. NS has Rage, but being red doesn't save you from apparently Lena on his support getting an ultra kill. And Virtus Pro says GG, and QPANDAS take the series 2-1.
Yep. People who have Lena on the Fantasy League, but actually Jerax on the Fantasy League will be really, really happy because that score, not really useful for a support of this kind.
Yeah.
And as we see it, well, you just said it, everything. Great win. This was not about the drafting. Virtus Pro was clearly not outdrafted in this game. It was just about how the lane came to play, about how the mid-game teamfights came to play, and about how the QPAD Red Pandas were able to actually close the game. Because it's easy sometimes to get ahead, and against a Phantom Lancer and a Furion, if you don't win right now, they'll just start pushing. I mean, there was a point where the Nature's Prophet could have taken... Well, they're having lots of fun right now.
For Fantasy League. For Fantasy League, says Wagamama,
yeah.
so they're going to farm some kills and stuff. But the game should be ending here in just a minute. I was really impressed, though. I had my doubts, I'll be honest, because they ran something a little bit similar to this, maybe less teamfight-oriented in game number 2, and BP just completely picked it apart. It just really felt like there was nothing they could do, and they're still farming, because Wagga apparently just...
They really want to win the Fantasy League. I think they all bought themselves. So, wow.
I think they're just a little bit pleased with their victory. Yep. And
Jerax fits.
Actually has a blink and a ghost scepter. Many tried to body block him right there, but going to be unsuccessful. So, congratulations once again to QPAD Red Pandas. I think the first and the third game, pretty standard QPANDAS play, I would say. They do love playing aggressive. We know that. They really like playing because Sing and Wagga, they are pretty much the two who I guess you could say have the most influence, and their style is always aggressive. They like to try to go for the mid game. Basically, what Sing said to me the other day is farming Dota is the worst Dota.
Yes.
So,
well, I mean, Dendy said pretty much the same a long time ago. This is probably Dendy's most quoted quote.
Yeah.
If you can win in 20 minutes, go and do it. Because if you have to fight in 60 minutes, then 60 minutes in, you can lose a team fight. And suddenly, you just lost the game because you didn't have enough buyback. And because the respawn timers are so long that people can push into your tower, they don't even need to kill your racks. It's just go for the tier 4 tower thrown and it's over.
Yeah.
So all in all, very convincing win for the QPAD Red Pandas. And this puts them, I think they are in the top position right now of the group. Of course, Team Liquid needs to play one more game. But the way I'm looking at it...
well, RTL 2-0, wouldn't that still technically be above 2-1? Because they still have to play again today.
Even if they lose 2-0, they are the same map score because they won 2-0, they lost 1-2-0. Okay. But because they have the head-to-head advantage, because they won against QPAD Red Pandas, they will be ahead of them. Now, for Empire, they won 1-2-0. They lost 1-2-1. So if they win against Team Liquid, I think Empire should be first, Team Liquid should be second, and the QPAD Red Pandas should be third. Okay. If the Team Liquid wins, no matter what the score, we have
something has been updated. Trance is mumbling.
Something updated. Trance working hard during the game.
Working hard or hardly working?
Well, that's not really updated. Trance.
They still have 2 points.
What?
It's still Virtus Process 0-2 and 2 point.
Impossible.
That's not updated.
Well, what about that?
Bam. There
Bam.
you go.
That's much better.
That's the one that you want.
Yep. So as you said before, there's a chance for Empire to take it all if they win 2-0 against Team Liquid. If they don't win 2-0, they're probably below the QPAD Red Pass. I don't know, I have to do some math in my head. But pretty much the top spot is for anyone's except the QPAD Red Pandas right now. Team Liquid and Empire can compete for it. Virtus Pro, unfortunately, eliminated from the tournament.
Yep.
They couldn't play one of the games, which is really unfortunate as well. But the good thing about Team Liquid and Empire is that they have no pressure to actually go through. But because they all can get the first position, if you get the first position, you secure yourself $1,000.
Yes.
Because you go straight into the semifinals, and the top 4 get at least $1,000 in this tournament. So you really want to win this match. Because if you don't, you have to play another one to actually go and secure that money. And you don't want to have to fight more matches to get money. You want money now.
Yeah, I like the format. It's only, what, 3 best of 3s? And you guarantee yourself if you get first place, that you, like you said, you get $1,000.
Yep.
So it's kind of short, concise, to the point. Just the way that I think Dota fans should like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that Dota fans don't like to see lots of Dota, but you can run lots of tournaments, small, concise tournaments. And the good thing is that every single match matters, because sometimes, I don't know, and I'm going on a ramble here, I don't know, so, sorry about that. But I have to
it's okay, man.
I just have to talk about this. This is completely my personal perception. The fact that you run a tournament with just one group, and all the matches from the same group first, and then you go to another one, you get some kind of a story going on. You have the same teams, you know, I mean, you're struggling to see which of these teams are going to go through, and then you move to the next one. If you just start doing Group A, then Group B, if you have more groups like Group C and Group D, just mix between each other, at that point you just forget who's waiting, why do I care, maybe, well, yeah, I cheer for this team, but, oh, at the end you have to remember, oh, well, yeah, they fought 2 weeks ago and they won the first match. I don't know, for me, it's easier to just have everything packed up in 1 week and see what happens. And you're really laughing at it because this is kind of weird.
I'm only smiling because you're smiling, man.
I know.
It's infectious.
It's a contagious smile.
Yeah.
Anyways. So now we're wrapping up the Group A. The next match should be starting... What time is it?
Pretty soon.
Well, 1 minute ago.
Yeah, so we're actually late, but I'm pretty sure we are supposed to be taking a break between that anyway. So
yeah,
we got to get Team Liquid and Empire in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then
we're not in here.
Well, not in here because you guys can't see the rest of the room, but there's probably not enough room for 10 more people, so be a little bit crowded. But we have another best of 3, one more for today, and again, like you said, the last of Group A, and this will decide basically who gets first. So whoever gets first between this match is guaranteed $1,000 no matter what. And we're going to be back here in a couple of minutes, guys. It's going to be Team Liquid taking on Empire for the first place in Group A in just a bit.